So it's the fourth segment of the wine challenge in New York, Scarsdale, Zachys with Andrew McMurray. Andrew, we've been doing some great tastings so far, some really good values. Right. And now you told me we're doing Bordeaux values.
Right.
I mean, that's sort of a oxymoron to some people. They don't believe that Bordeaux has value. They always think of Lafite, the headlines, these expensive wines. But, I mean, how do you define value with Bordeaux?
You know, obviously you're talking a different price range, but there is a lot of great Bordeaux in, let's say, the $20 to $45 price range that a lot of people don't know about because they're chasing after the top labels. But there's so much out there, so much produced, so much quality, and when you get into a great vintage, and we're going to do one vintage together today, there's a lot out there. And today we're lowering the bar but increasing the quality. So everything is 25 and under, and 3 of the 4 wines you're going to be tasting today are going to be under 20 bucks.
Wow.
And we think you're going to be really impressed with the quality, regardless of the price. So,
well, looking at the color, it must be 2010.
I don't know. Let's taste and see.
Of course, 9 was a great year, too. That's interesting for me because 2 great years, 2009, 2010 in Bordeaux. In general, I tend to like the 9s better, but I'm going to Bordeaux in a couple weeks to taste probably 600 2010s.
Only 600.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to cut back.
Okay, good.
So anyway, it's 2 great years. And in those great years, that's the definition of a great vintage for me in Bordeaux, is when the small wines are excellent.
Exactly. Because, you know, this store has been built on Bordeaux, and it hasn't been. My father-in-law wasn't, you know, always selling all the just the classified gross, the high-end, high-ticket wines. It's, you know, it was the $10 to $40 wines that really built the market for us. So we can't ever forget these wines because they're so good and so reasonable.
Well, right off the bat, it's telling you Bordeaux.
Yeah.
And what I like is you get the fruit, ripe fruit, but also you're getting the sort of sweet tobacco, some iodine character, almost an iron character on the nose.
Mm-hmm.
And then some chocolate, complexity. That's what so often with other Cabernets from around the world, you don't get that complexity of Bordeaux.
Right.
That's Bordeaux.
I was going to say the richness in the perfume of this wine is, you know, really pulls me into the glass.
I'm 90, 91, but I'm going to go 91 on it because I really like it. And that's what I love is the balance to it.
Okay. L'Expression de la Croix l'Artigue. This is Stefan Derencourt.
Yeah, I know that wine very well.
2009 vintage. So now you know your vintage theme.
1695?
Yep.
Oh my God. 09, okay. Fabulous year.
Right.
That's crazy.
We're like so excited that the bulk of all these value 09 started coming in like around Thanksgiving time. So going into this year, that's going to be a big thrust of what we're going to have available to sell. And
this wine is actually owned by Stefan with his 2 young winemakers, or they rent the property.
Right.
So they're really doing it. It's like their own.
Right. They've got a different vested interest in it.
It was 1695. That's crazy. I think when I tasted it from barrel, I even gave it more than 91. So fabulous wine.
Oh, didn't even know you tasted it. So
yeah,
there you go. There's a
whoa, that's killer.
pleasant surprise for both of
wow.
us. Yep. Okay. Hopefully we can keep the momentum up. You ready for 2?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay. Let's do it.
The problem is sometimes, I mean, obviously when you're tasting, you're influenced by the price. So when you think of 25, even for me, I'm like, well, I can't, you know, give it too much. There's always that tendency to be,
Right.
you know, more conservative because of the price. But that's really an excellent
Maybe we should have set the table and told you everything was under 100.
Yeah,
you know?
This wine has a little bit more richness.
Yep.
More intensity.
But you know, pull it together a little bit tighter
Yeah.
to me in the nose.
More floral.
Yep.
Wow. Layered, balanced, silky, long, and savory. I've used that word a lot in these tastings. And savory just means to me, it keeps your palate moist.
Right.
And it's like almost biting into a beautiful steak or something. That your palate, you know, you're just hungry.
Yep.
It's beautiful.
Yep.
Wow.
It definitely does not weigh heavier along in the finish, and the minerality to it I really like
And
a lot.
a tiny bit of a wood at the end. I'm 92 on that. I like that slightly better than the last wine.
Okay, so this is an estate that we've worked with. Like, it's one of these little petite chateaus we worked with forever. Franck Lartigue, 2009, Saint-Emilion.
And Grand Cru Saint-Emilion.
Yep.
Beautiful.
Great little estate that flies under the radar again.
$24.99. Whoa. 09, mostly Merlot.
Yep.
That's awesome. That's the 2009 vintage. Beautiful wines, balanced, so much going on. And that's what I think great Bordeaux is about. When you have a great Bordeaux, they should be great when they're from barrel, great when they're first in bottle,
Right.
and great 10, 20, and onwards. And this is a wine that gives you that sort of experience.
We're hoping in 2013 this is going to be the year when people are going to circle back around to Bordeaux and specifically the 09s, because people bought futures. Futures came in last year. A lot of people bought, the big name stuff, socked it away. But now a lot of shops, ourselves included, are going to have the 9s on the shelves this year. And it's going to be a lot of fun selling these wines, I think.
Great wine, 92 points. Whoa, this is a really cool tasting.
Woohoo!
All right.
Okay, so go to number 3. Hopefully we can keep it up.
What a vintage.
Yep.
Well, this again is different, even more flowery.
Yeah,
Violets,
so much so.
Lilacs, and then dark fruits at the same time. This is maybe a sort of flinty character at the same time.
This is making me ready for my burger.
Dark chocolate this time. Mm-hmm. Wow. Layered, balanced, beautiful. A tiny bit of new wood. I'm trying to decide if I like this better than the second wine that we tasted.
It finishes a little bit different, and I think that this wine
Yeah.
will get even more expressive as the year goes on. So a little bit tighter to the finish, but I think with a little bit of time this year, this is going to be a delicious wine. This is a new producer for us.
It's a little bit more fruit driven.
Yep.
For me, I'm going to give it the same score, and I'd be curious to see how both of them are in 5 years. But beautiful wine, 92 points. A little bit more obvious fruit. So, more fruit.
So it's called Lagrange
Medoc,
d'Aubusson.
okay.
Yeah, just a basic
Sure.
Medoc, and for
So cab.
$19, $18.99.
Wow. 92
We're
points.
very excited about this wine.
We got a Médaille d'Or in the show in Paris. Obviously, this is mostly Cabernet Sauvignon.
Yep.
And then probably some Merlot and Cabernet Franc. But
Yep.
beautiful wine, $18.99. 92 points.
Think of where to your point, what other when Bordeaux is great, what other region of the world are you going to be able to get a Cabernet-driven wine of these quality or this quality for $19? You can't.
It's impossible.
You can't. Okay.
Awesome.
So, pulling up the rear, number 4. This goes down as another one of those legacy petite chateaus that we've worked with here in the store for many years.
Okay, let's see. Last one. Wow. There's something a little bit more sophisticated to this
Yeah.
than the other three.
Yep. The first time I tasted this a couple weeks ago, it just pulls you right into the glass.
Flowers, milk chocolate.
Right? Don't you want that? I
So
like that.
subtle.
In whether you're talking Burgundy, Barolo, Bordeaux, something
Yeah.
that's almost as much pleasure you get from smelling it as you do from tasting it.
Well, that's the thing. That's the sign of a really excellent wine. Is you almost don't want to drink it. It smells so attractive. It's so enticing. Perfume too. And that has some tannin backbone.
Yep.
Firm, chewy. It's actually a wine that I would say another year
Yep.
or two just to resolve some of the tannins with the fruit.
I was saying, but that
there's-
just runs
Yeah.
woo, nice and tight and right down the middle. Just
It's like the backbone of tannin. It gives it real texture
Yep.
and real form. And I think that that's really cool.
But I agree with you, and a selling point for us, it's going to be either if a client's going to buy it for now, we strongly recommend that you decant it to
Yeah,
give it
couple hours in advance.
to get it open, or if hang on to it. But a year is not a long time to wait for.
And I love the chewiness. That's the best wine of the tasting, 93 points.
Hey, about that. It's a Fransac,
Fransac.
Puy Guillaume, 2009 vintage.
Good.
We also work with Canon Guillaume from the same importer. Both wines are just sensational.
But good for you for selling Fransac, because Fransac is a wine 200 years ago. It was considered one of the top areas in Bordeaux, in Paris. Everyone drank it. And, they always have such structure and power, but people forget about them nowadays.
Right.
And the wines are excellent value. Sometimes they can be a little bit hard, the tannins from that terroir, but in a riper year,
Right, in a vintage like
09 or
99,
10,
yep.
it's super wine. Price, 1995, 93 points. That's off
Yep.
the charts.
Yep.
Really, 2009, what an amazing vintage. And that's why, for me, 30 years of tasting Bordeaux, 09, 2009 is really the greatest year.
It's a special vintage, and this is the year for people, like I keep saying, to jump in and start tasting and learning about the vintage. And, so many people can get in at this, the 25 and under price point, as we saw today, and there's dozens out there like that. So,
Great tasting.
Exciting.
That was a great tasting. Thanks again.
Okay. Cheers, man.
Thanks.